Hi everyone and welcome to today's lesson. You chose to start making the pencil case. So I call it a pencil case, but obviously you can put whatever you want in it and call it whatever you want. It opens up this way and we have this cool feature of making the plywood flexible by just cutting a bunch of little slots in it, and then suddenly it's just flexible. It's called living hinges. We have it here and here, and then we have 3 magnets along the clasp up here, and that snaps it shut. So a cool project. It's pretty quick. Has a lot of cool features to it. Let's get down to it. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to save my file, and I'm putting mine in my living hinge location or my project. You can create a new project by simply clicking this down arrow here and choosing new project, typing in the thing, saving new project. I'm going to call this pencil case, but again, if you're not making a pencil case, call it whatever you want. Alright, I named mine video version because that lets me know of all the practice ones, which ones I actually recorded. Okay, so we've got our file saved. We're going to create a sketch first. And what we're going to do is we're going to sketch out the shape of this face and then extrude it 1 thickness of plywood. So let's do that right away. I'm going to choose to create this sketch on my side plane here. I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to create a sketch. The first thing I'm going to do is create a rectangle. I'm going to choose my center point rectangle tool and center it right on my sketch. And this rectangle needs to be 120 tab by 35 high. Enter. Now I'm going to click a circle. I'm going to find the center of this side over here. I see a little triangle, so that's the center. And then drag it up to the very top of the rectangle there. Do the same thing on this side. Grab my circle tool, find the center, drag it up to the top. Everything is happy. Now before I extrude this, I'm going to actually turn these lines into construction lines. So I click on this vertical line here and just hit X to turn into a construction line. Here, X. That way when I extrude, there's less to click on. Now I'm going to, before I extrude actually, I need to create a parameter for the thickness. So I'm going to go here to the Modify menu, come down here to Change Parameters. And where it says user parameters here, I'm going to click the plus sign and I'm going to name this parameter thickness. Now my advice to you is go over and grab some of the plywood we'll be using and measure its thickness. I like to grab 5 to 10 sheets of it and measure them all together and then do that number divided by 5 here. So it might be something like 13.56 or whatever you measured divided by 5. And that would be the actual thickness of 1 sheet. By measuring 5 of them, you make less error than just by measuring 1 of them. I happen to know that this plywood we're using today is 2.65 millimeters in thickness, so I can put that right in there. And you might be asking, well, why do we need to make that parameter? Well, we don't need to. We could just type in 2.65 every time we do the thickness of the plywood, but that poses some problems. First of all, you might make errors typing it in at some point, and that could screw up everything. The second thing is, if you wanted to go back and change the thickness, say you were doing it and the plywood in this batch was 2.8 instead of 2.65. Well, you could just come here to the parameters page and change this 1 number, and that 1 number will ripple all the way through your design. So it makes life easier in that way too. So parameters are really cool things to use. All right, so now we're going to extrude. And we're going to extrude this entire shape out, all 3 of those pieces, and we're going to do it out the thickness we just put in. So to get that thickness number, instead of typing 2.65, type in T, and then see how it brought up thickness right away? Once you see the one you want here, you can just go ahead and push Enter. That'll put the whole word there, and then 1 more Enter to actually make the extrusion happen. So now we've got an extrusion here that's the thickness of a piece of plywood. All right, now I'm going to do A for appearances, and I'm going to add an appearance to this. I'm going to come down here to wood, and I like the oak one. I'm just going to drag oak right onto it. If you've got a little download symbol here, all you got to do is click on it, wait a few seconds for it to download the file, and then you can drop the oak onto there. Awesome. Choose any wood you want. I just want to make sure we know what each piece is made of. So we're going to hit close here. All right, next thing we want to do is we're going to create an offset plane in the middle of our pencil case. So our pencil case can be 200 millimeters wide. So we're going to make an offset plane 100 millimeters away from this face right here. So I'm going to click on this outside face, and I'm going to drag it in this direction, and for me that's negative 100. That's halfway across the pencil face. Now, why do we create a plane halfway across the case? Well, we can do this cool thing now called Create Mirror, and we can click on this object, and we can click on the mirror plane. Well, first of all, actually make sure it says bodies here, not faces, features, or components. You want the full body to mirror. The object that you're going to select is this object, and then the mirror plane, when I click up here on mirror plane, I'm going to tell it I'm mirroring it around here. It'll show you a preview. That's what it's going to do. So it created this body over there. And I'm just going to say, okay. And now in my bodies folder, I notice I have two bodies. So I'm going to name these real quick. So that's going to be the left side of my, so I'm going to call this L side. Enter. And the other body, yep, that's the R side. Not surprising. Enter. And those are my two sides of my pencil case. Awesome. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a solid piece of plastic. Well, not solid, but we'll create a piece of plastic that goes from this corner, this round corner, to this round corner to create some structure in there to help make this stronger. To do that, I'm just going to create a sketch on this inside face of my left side. Click on it. And then I'm going to hide the right side. And I'm going to hide the left side. And I'm going to hide this construction plane. Now I can just see that far left-hand side that I have the shape of. What I want to do now is I'm going to create a line. I'm going to come in here. And I want to create a line, right? See where this, let's see, square up to the right side real quick. And right here is where that curve stops. I can see how it like comes over and then it hits this square thing. That's where the curve starts. So I'm going to draw a line down to that. And now I'm going to extrude this. I'm going to turn my left side and my right side back on. I'm going to hit the home so I can get back to my original view. And I want to extrude this body from here all the way to the other side. So I'm going to rotate so I can see the inside face of this one. And I'm going to say to object here instead of distance on my extrude menu. And then click on the inside face of this one. And you can see it brings it all the way over. Now right now it's trying to join it, so you can see how it's made it one, these three pieces all one piece. We don't want that, we just want to say new body, and now it's turned it back to gray and clicked OK. And now I've got a third body here, and then I'm going to call this the back end. Hit enter, OK. Now I'm going to bring A for appearance back up, and I'm going to make this whatever color plastic I think I'm going to make. I'm going to choose paint here. There's not really good plastic options. And I'm going to do this as metallic flake. I think they look pretty cool. And you know what? I'm going to say I'm going to make mine red. I'm going to put red right there and then hit close. All right, awesome. So now we've got the right side, the left side, and this back end piece done. But we don't need this back end to be a solid piece of plastic. We're going to carve out some pieces from it. And I'll show you a cool technique for that. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to create a sketch right on this face, and then I'm going to hide the left side and the right side. I'm going to zoom in here and I'm going to create a rectangle inside the box anywhere. So all I want to do is not let it touch the edge, and I'm going to create 3 rectangles. Doesn't matter how big they are or where they are, as long as they're not touching anything. They're just inside somewhere. And now I need to dimension these off. So first thing I'm going to do is hit D for dimensioning. So these rectangles are the part that we're going to core out. We're going to core it out kind of like you core out a, say, a cantaloupe when you're scooping cantaloupe with a spoon. You can just spoon it out. I'll show you, it's a cool technique. But we're going to hit D for dimensioning. We're going to click on the left side of this rectangle and the left side of the plastic piece. And we're going to type in 2 millimeters there. And we're going to do that same 2 millimeters between all of the pieces. So I'm going to do the right side of this one, the left side of this box, and come up here and click up at the top. Instead of typing in 2, watch how cool this is. I'm going to come over here to this tool and just click once. It's going to put D11 in there, which means it's going to put whatever dimension that is in this box. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So the right side of this box, the left side of this box, come up here into the white space and just click. Click on the last one I did just once, enter. And now I'm going to click on the right side of this last rectangle and the right side of the plastic part. Click up here, click once on this last measurement I did and hit enter. and now they're all 2. And watch how cool this is. Because I'm going to hit escape to get out of the dimensioning tool, and because I dimensioned them all together, if I change this one to 3, they all change to 3. So instead of changing it 4 times, I just change it once. It's a really cool trick. I'm going to change it back to 2. And now I'm going to dimension the top to this one. So dimension from this top left one to the outside edge of the plastic. Then come over in the white space and click again and make that one 2 as well. In fact, I might even just do the same trick here. I might click once here and say they're all going to be the same. Come down here and click on this one, the bottom part of the rectangle, the bottom part of the plastic piece over here in the white, click one more time, and then click on that last measurement I did, enter, and now they're all 2. Well, I could keep doing that on all of these, but it's even easier just to use the collinear tool. Remember, collinear means take 2 lines and line them up next to each other. So I'm going to say, hey, I want this one to be in line with that line, and then I want this third top line to be in line with the middle one. Now they're all in line with each other. Same thing on the bottom. This bottom one should be in line with this bottom one, and then this one should be in line with that bottom one. All right. Last thing I want to do is I want to make these openings, all 3 openings, exactly the same size. You can see if I hit escape, these are still blue because I can drag them bigger and smaller. So instead of trying to define how big this size is, watch how cool this is. I want all 3 of these to be equal. So I'm just going to here get my equal constraint. I'm going to click on this top line and this one. That made those 2 equal to each other. And then I'm going to click on the middle one and the far right one. And now that made those 2 equal, which means the first one's equal to that one as well. Oh, the logic. So now I've got them all made. One more thing I need to do is I need to cut them all in half. So I'm going to grab my line tool, and now I'm going to cut it, find the midpoint there with a little triangle, and then come straight across to the other side rectangle and click on it. And then I'm going to say, so now if I tip it a little bit, I'm going to escape to get all that tool. If I tip a little bit, I hit extrude. You can see that if I try to extrude these pieces in a regular extrusion, they're going to break through because they're a flat extrusion. So that's not going to work. So I'm going to hit cancel there. And what I want to do instead is I want to take this rectangle and I want to scoop it around and just scoop out that inside piece. So to do that, I need to do finish sketch and do a really cool tool called the revolve tool. So revolve, I'm going to click on these top 3 faces, and then I'm going to come down here and click on axis that I want to revolve them around, and that's going to be this middle line right through the middle here. You can see I've got that blue line all the way across the middle. Click on it, and it just revolved them. Now it revolved them all the way around. Let me undo it so you can see what happens. So I'm going to come around, and I'm going to just scoop it. See how when I go into it like this, I'm just scooping out the inside. And it turns that kind of bright red cutaway look. I only need 180 degrees. I could keep going on the outside, but that doesn't do anything. I just need 180 degrees. Now, if I went the other way, watch how cool this is. I could actually create new material in a scooping shape this way. But I don't want that. I want it this way, and I want it to be 180. And then I'm just going to click OK. And now I've scooped it out. I've got this support piece. Let's turn our right side and left side back on. And now I've got something that's going to support the bending wood around the whole edge. Now I need to make another one of those on this side. So I'm going to do something really easy, which is I'm going to just mirror that. So I need something in the middle, right down the middle of midplane here. But if I come here and say midplane, and I click on this side, there's nothing for me to click on this edge. So I've got to do it in a little more complicated way. Because my 2 outside edges here are circles or curves, I need to come here to construct, and I'm going to do a tangent plane first. I'm going to click on this outside curved edge right there. It's going to create a tangent plane that's vertical right there. So I'm going to say, okay, great. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing again, construct. I'm going to say a tangent plane on this edge here, and then say, okay, great. And now I've got these 2 planes that are on my outside edges. I can create a midplane with them. So here, construct, and we do midplane between this plane and that plane, and now it just created me a midplane. And I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to have my construction plane folders open. I'm going to take away plane 2 and plane 3 because I don't need them anymore. I just need them for this one. And now I'm going to do a create a mirror pattern, or a mirror I should say. And I want to make sure this top one says bodies. And the objects, I need to select what objects I want to mirror. Well, I'm going to mirror this piece. And then I'm going to choose my mirror plane by clicking on this part and then going and clicking on my mirror plane. And right away you can see it's going to create another one on the other side, just that easy. Click OK. Awesome. I'm going to turn off plane 4, and I'm actually going to name plane 4 mid-plane 2. Enter, and then click back on plane 1, and that's my other mid-plane. I'm going to click on it again and call mid-plane 1. So those are my 2 mid-planes, but I need to find them, be easier to find now. Okay, awesome news. We've got everything done. This back end, I'm actually going to rename it to front end. Enter, and that's that one. So I'm going to go back out to home, and I think we're going to stop there for this video. Great job so far. In the next video, we'll start creating some more of the joints and features.